All right, and welcome back to another episode of Gone in 60 Seconds. Phil.Coria, Account Executive here at Workday. It's great to virtually see you again. And let's jump into this week's episode. As a recap, let's go through kind of the episodes that we already shared with you guys, and it was around our methodology and approach behind deployment and all the benefits there. We talked about the continuous innovation lifecycle of Workday, being able to extend it throughout the life of Workday, not falling behind. We also talked about just Workday being one platform, not having modules or applications, and you guys are actually going to see that in real application today. And then we also talked about the ability to plan, execute, and analyze all in one platform because it is one system supplemented and augmented by tools around our object model security framework, organizational hierarchy, and business process framework. And you guys are going to see all of that in action today coming together. And that's obviously today's session, which I know you guys have been waiting for, is around the platform experience. So I was really excited to put this together for you and take you guys on a harbor tour to set the stage before we jump right in. Let's talk a little bit about just Workday as a whole, being able to technology meet your needs now, but then also meet them in the future, right? Not falling behind because you have to do upgrades or anything like that, and also having the ability to pivot if macroeconomics change or the business changes. That really gives you the ability to have scale, agility, and obviously this is all delivered in the cloud, so that's why you're able to pivot and being able to adjust to the environment so quickly. The other element of this is imagining a world where you guys are going to actually see that world that was imagined when Workday started back in 2005, and what has been the derivative of that and the development of that, and really the feedback from our clients. So with that, let's jump right on in and let's jump into that live tenant. All right, and welcome to Workday. So this is the landing page for Workday. So I'm going to just take you on a quick 5-minute harbor tour. We're going to go through this pretty quickly, but we definitely can set up any type of follow-up conversations or demos. But just wanted to give you kind of a quick glimpse of look and feel into Workday. So as we see here, we have a landing page that starts to greet you, right? So good afternoon. In this case, it's Enrique, who is an employee who just transitioned over to manager, and I'll share kind of what the cause and effect is of that. It has suggested tasks. So here we could see, machine learning starting to come to play here to suggest any type of relevant tasks that maybe Enrique completes on a day-to-day basis, most common. We'll come back to Workday Journeys. It also has the most used apps here. And we could also go in here and we could, click on the gear icon, adjust any type of apps if needed. But again, uses machine learning behind the scenes to serve up any type of relevant apps that he uses more on a day-to-day basis. You also have the ability to push out announcements. So announcements allow you to communicate with your, employees or workforce or the organization as a whole based off of rules where you can embed articles, images, and videos. It's a great way, maybe they're replacing an intranet or some type of communication tool out to your employees. You also have the ability to leverage Workday cards. So these are internal cards that could be synced up with Microsoft Teams or also Slack, but it's presented content in a natural workspace that's relevant to each user. So for example, it could be tasks that they need to execute. In this case, Enrique, has a learning assignment that's due soon, so start sending him those gentle reminders. Any type of information that needs to be acted upon immediately, but it's really tailored to you. It's admins could go in and configure what info gets pushed out. And it's really, obviously, this is a great example of just the power of one coming together. And as I'm clicking, I'm not leaving multiple windows, right? So you've seen that was done on purpose because we don't want to be jumping in and out of screens as your employees are navigating their way through, the tasks that they need to accomplish. Also show you his profile really quick. So we jump into Enrique's profile here, and you can see kind of just some basic information. Obviously, all the information that he puts in here, these are all rules set by you guys. You could click into the org structure, drill up, drill down, whatever it may be. It's extremely intuitive. You also have the ability to serve up like total reward statements, so compensation statement here. If you have different types of pay or rates of pay or RSUs or whatever it may be, but they're able to look at that total salary here on a pie chart, for example. They're also able to go into the job, so an employee can see his or her timeline. It's everything within Workday is complete audit trail, so you're able to see all those milestones from the time they actually got hired. So very intuitive in terms of just being able to go in and access the data that you want. Let's jump into the Workday Journeys screen real quick. So in this case, the use case here is that Enrique just transitioned to a manager. So what does that look like from going from an employee to an actual manager, especially a manager of your peers, if you got promoted within the same company? Well, what it does, it takes the Workday Journeys takes tasks or any type of elements that need to be accomplished and completed into milestones, or groups them into phases to allow the employee, right, or in this case Enrique the manager now, this kind of micro chunks to make it easier to digest and really acclimate to his new role. So it could be, a sense of overwhelm feelings or anxiety when you kind of take on those new roles. So this really helps with that. And the use cases could range. Like for example, here at Workday, we use Workday journeys to communicate and complete kind of task around what resources were available to us, what tools do we have, in transitioning from the office, going into the home office, and setting up your home office for success. So that all of that stuff was getting pushed out to us early on, but it wasn't overwhelming because it was all in micro chunks, and it was pushed out through this Workday's journeys feature, all within Workday. So being a personal user of that, I really, really enjoyed it, and it helped me a ton as I transitioned through this. And I'm sure everybody else went through the same thing at some capacity, through anxiety, through transitioning through this. The other piece of this too, let's just pull up a onboarding status summary report. So when I talk to admins, usually they tell me that they're doing this manually on Excel spreadsheets. If you hire 100 to 200, to 1,000 employees, how great would it be to actually go into an onboarding status summary report and actually look at where each individual employee is at, what they have not started, what the progress is, who the hiring manager is, if you need to reach out to that person. So really, really cool feature in terms of being able to just, be able to look at all your new hires and are they really, moving through kind of that cycle of getting onboarded, because everybody remembers that process when they get hired on a company. This is an element of being able to merge HR and finance together. So here you could see we have a financial performance card that is really bringing kind of like a P&L feel to the manager. And then also too, you're able to actually take action on this information as well. So if I wanted to slice and dice that data, say, okay, what region is my travel and entertainment coming from? Well, it's coming from EU Northern headquarters. Well, what are the details of that? Why is it so high or low, or do we need to increase expenses? And you're able to go in here and start to look at that relevant data. So again, being able to take these dynamic reports and allow you to act on them and being able to transact on them as well, and get into the transactional level detail, as I mentioned during episode, I believe it was 3. The other scorecard that I wanted to show you here, where it was the executive workforce scorecard, where you could have this as a collaboration tool. For example, you have these visual indicators, but you also have comments here where admins or analysts could put in comments. So, depending on what it may be, you want to make sure that you want to have that relevant data be a part of just overall KPI and information, so you understand where that's coming from. And again, all these dashboards are delivered to you out of the box. So during deployment, we deliver all these out to you. We, wrap around a business process where really you start to configure those roles when you go through the testing period, in terms of being able to really fine tune these dashboards to really be relevant to you guys, depending on who's seeing this, from the executive team all the way down to the employees. So that was a quick harbor tour of Workday. Hope you enjoy it. I was excited to actually put this together for you, give you guys a little sneak peek into Workday. And hopefully we are able to do a deep dive level session here in the near future. All right, well, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And at the end of the day, all roads lead back to the power of one and customer satisfaction, right? So you guys were able to see what the power of one looks like from a user experience standpoint when you don't have modules, you don't have integrations, you don't have to jump in and out of multiple applications or windows, and what that does from a streamlining perspective when you're just interacting with Workday. So look forward to continuing to expand on that. Also, too, hopefully you're able to see why we have such a high rating when it comes to customer satisfaction. I think it's obviously one part of the fold when it comes to technology, but you also have support. You have how Workday continues to evolve, and then innovation cycle continues to get pushed out, which we're going to talk about in next week's episode. So please stay tuned for that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this week's episode. It was a fun one to put together. And that was another episode of Gone in 60 Seconds. Have a great rest of your day, week, weekend, depending on when you're watching this. Thanks again for your time, and look forward to the next episode.